We're going to do a complete walkthrough of the entire workflow from collecting seeds in the field through inventorying seeds, conditioning, sowing, germinating, growing, and managing inventory and putting crops on customer order. It's going to be a long video, so grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, because this is going to be a long one. Let's get started. The process starts in Collector, which is the software that we all use to discover, document, plant communities and individual species in the wild, and the software in which we collect seeds and establish population codes. So let's take a look. Logging into Collector now. I'm going to assume everybody already knows how to capture botanical and ecological data in the field. We will not be covering the analytics workflow in this video. This is mostly focused on the correct use of the software for production pathways. So let's start by going and collecting seed someplace. Go into my ecology menu, locations, find a location that you're going to visit to collect seed. Let's go to our demo site in West Virginia. Okay, so what are all of my species options? Here's a nice one. Gaultheria procumbens. Fruits are still available. Navigate to your population code, add an accession, collect date populates to today. The population size is enormous. I collected seed. The number of reproductive plants is also enormous, but I only collected from maybe 50 plants. The seeds were collected. I will put the seeds into the inbound box, and I was done. Okay, so I just created a new accession, or a new seed lot code. The code number is here. It is the USDA code followed by the population code, and you'll see that the previous seed collection or accession was -1. This one will be -2 as soon as the software syncs. There we go. There's our completed accession code or seed lot code. You can click into that and take a look. Everything looks great. All we really need out of Collector is this code right here. In Collector, you can perform some nursery operations, but let's shift over to Seed Source, which is the main nursery application, and carry this species forward in the production cycle. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is create an order for Gaultheria procumbens, and I will create the order as part of a project. So let's find a project to add the Gaultheria procumbens. So here's a project. Open one up. I will create an order. Here's a plant order. Plant order name is Gaultheria procumbens test. Delete me. Now that I have a plant order established, I will add a line item under original plant list. Gaultheria procumbens. We're going to build that one, and I only want 1 quart. There we go. Save. Here's a plant order, a simple plant order. It is flexible. The plant's date is, let's put that date out. I don't need that until October 1st, we'll say. All right, so I have a plant order for the Phopos Woody Invasive Clearing Project with 1 line item on it, and that line item is just 1 quart of Gaultheria procumbens. At this point, I will send an email to the nursery to alert them that this order has been created. In this case, I'm going to say, nursery, please disregard this order. It will be deleted. So this just alerts the nursery that there's a new plant order. Okay, and that is all we need to do here. We'll keep this software open, and we'll come back in a bit and see what happens next. Now let's switch over to Seed Source and process this order. Okay, so I am now in Seed Source, or the Northeast Seed Network. I'm going to navigate to that customer and find that order. All right, there's Phopos. Project orders are handled in a 2-step process where the project teams or an external client creates a draft order. And that's a document that they use to communicate their requirements for a project. And it's that draft order that the nursery reviews and then converts into a real order based on the requirements of that project. This results in having two orders, the original project order and then the actual nursery order. And this allows the project manager or the nursery to be able to compare what was originally requested versus what was supplied. Here it is, draft nursery releases. So there's our test order for $1, and it has the 1 quart of Gaultheria procumbens on it. So as a nursery manager or order manager, I will take a look at that, and obviously that's fine. So I'm going to convert this draft order into a real order, which we have now done. The colors changed from red to green. So the project plant order was attached to a project sub-OM. I'm going to create a new one, create a new plant order. That order name is Test Gaultheria. It was due October 1st, and the nickname for the released is a Test Gaultheria. Do not use, so that's fun, Drew. Okay, and this is sub. There we go. And here is our new open order for the nursery, which contains the release for the Gaultheria procumbens. Okay, so now the order is set up in its entirety, at which point we can begin to take some action. All right, now let's go through the process of creating a production plan and practice producing this plant for this client. So Gaultheria procumbens, let's go see what we have in our seed inventory. We should be able to see seed lots, should be able to see that Gaultheria that we collected from Davis. And there it is. It's today's date. It is an outdoor sow. So let's click in. Okay. So this is an outdoor sow species. So we can condition this right away. And in fact, the fact that I collected the seed in March means that the seed is already conditioned. It was conditioned in nature and collected late. So I'm going to condition that seed now. And what this does is it creates a conditioned lot of seed, which is called a C lot, which is separate from the seed lot. And this was outdoor sow. We have a scant 0.5 grams. The conditions start today. In the cooler, condition note, naturally conditioned. All right, so now we have a C lot. What this means is this seed has been fully conditioned and is ready to sow, which is wonderful. So I am going to schedule flats. Schedule flats starts the production process. The button pre-populates most information that you need, including the C lot code. I'm going to assign this production plan to Phopos, which is the client. Provide an instruction. Please do this ASAP. Grams to sow. I want to sow all 0.5 grams. Let's do this production order today from seed, and let's make a PL50. And I'm going to skip the production pathway for this demo, and I am going to ask for just one tray of 50. Okay, and please use a sand. Great. So this is now a completed production order request. It is saying to use this seed, or that accession, with this C lot code, produce for the client Phopos ASAP. So all 0.5 grams today. Use seed, make a PL50, skip the pathway, and we're going to sow direct, make just one, and use sand P. That's a great looking production order. Click Save. Here's our production order. Now for this species, let's click in. There we go. Everything looks great. When the production order is well formed, you will see this button here with the star saying Process Production Order. Let's talk about processing production orders. The method used in SeedSource mirrors most other manufacturing or production systems in which there are two steps. One is, or actually, there's 3 steps. First step is to create the production order, which we have already done. Step 2 is to declare the work that was performed under that production order. And then step 3 is you post your work to inventory. So let's take a look at steps 2 and steps 3. So step 2 is declaring the work that was performed. So that's process production order. Click the button. You'll get a very similar looking panel. It's almost identical. And all you need to do is add producer's notes. I'll say sowed all the seed. I used a 0.5 grams. I did it today, and I was asked to produce 1. I'm going to say I produced 1. I did use the sand peat mix. That's it. Hit save. Now, instead of a star where it says process the PO, you'll get this new button that says post a germination record. So now I am going to be putting this 1 flat of PL50 into inventory with the automatic status that this crop was just sown. How do we know it was just sown? Well, it was just produced from seed. If the production order had been from a pre-existing product, say like a 200 or a 98 or something, then the posting button would say post to production. But because we are producing from seed, the button just says post to germ. Click the button. There we go. So now you have a sow record, which indicates, if you click in, what was sown exactly. So there's the C lot code, how many, 1 flat of a PL50, its status is sown. Now to complete this, I am going to say that the flat was put into house 1, row A. Okay, pretty simple, folks. So there's our completed inventory record, and I have basically completed this production order. The requested quantity was 1. I have produced 1. I used all the seed, so I'm finished. So I'm going to click this fun smiley button, set PO to finished, and that closes the production order, puts a line through some elements of the order. We have our species now in inventory. Not only in inventory, but we know exactly where we put it. So this crop is well on its way to producing a beautiful plant. So that was the complete walkthrough of the 3-step production order process. Creating the production order, declaring what was produced, and then posting what was produced to inventory. Excellent. Now let's preview the growing process. So now that you have inventory, it becomes the responsibility of the grower to manage that crop. So let's go into production. We'll find our Gaultheria. There it is. 1 flat, 0 available of the Gaultheria procumbens in house 1A, which is where we put it. You can see that 1 flat was sown, but we have a yield of 0 trays. Well, that's because they haven't grown yet. So let's go in and fast forward a few months, and we will take a look at the crop, and we will have noticed that today, a lucky day, that the seeds have germinated. There's a really easy button here that allows you to update the status of that crop. It says started to germinate. So we're going to click that button. And what that does is it changes the status for you and updates your estimated ready date based on when this crop began to germinate. You still don't have any yield, nor do you have any available, but we'll correct that shortly. Now let's fast forward a little bit more and say that the seeds have finished germinating. Wonderful. I'm going to click the finished germinating button. Boom. And what that does is it updates the status for you automatically to the growing stage. You still don't have any yield, and there's still none available because we haven't updated the record yet. So let's do that. Just scroll down a little bit. The crop is still in house 1, row A. And let's declare our germination percentage, which we should have done back when the crop was in germination status. We will say that by some great stroke of luck, 100% of the seeds germinated. And when you do that, now our yield quantity shifted from 0 to 1. Here, let me show you that. on the same panel. So back when I did not update the germination percentage, even though I sowed the flat, I still had 0 in inventory, or 0 yield, and therefore 0 available. If that flat only germinated half, click the 50%, then the software says I have a yield of half a flat, and I have a half a flat available, and so on. But I got 100% germination, so I have a full flat available for use on an order. It does provide an estimated ready date based on the date that the status was set to growing. If you as the grower estimates that the ready date might be sometime in the future, or you disagree with that date, then you can key in a date yourself. You can also see that your inventory panel here has been updated now to show that you have 1 flat of this Gaultheria on hand. This is great information. Let's go back and take a look at our order and make sure that it was set up properly. Actually, let me show you a different report. It is called the Release Manager, and it is in the side panel. This is a wonderful panel to use. It shows you all of your open releases sorted by recency of modification. So you can see that these are current orders, or current releases rather, and they are sorted by the last time that they were updated. So our faux post test order is at the top of the list. We can click in, check on the order, and we can see that the order was for a quart, but I talked to the project manager and they are fine with PL50s. So I'm going to change the order to the PL50. There we go. They don't really have time to wait for quarts. So I changed that. It's the sink. Now let's go back and look at our crop, because I want to show you something interesting. Okay, here's our Gaultheria. Expand that. And what you're going to see is the test order appear in the potential OLIs. So if you are looking at your inventory, the software will show you all of the potential line items for which this crop is relevant. Just waiting for a sync. And voila. So here is that updated order and the updated line item where I switched from quart to PL50. So now you can see that line item directly from the production panel. Isn't that a wonderful feature? Now let's do the scenario where the project manager came back and said, you know, I do want a quart after all. That's not a problem. We're going to click in on that line item and we're going to edit it and change the size back to quart. Fine. So it's now a quart, and once it syncs, that line item will disappear from this panel. But now what we need to do is we need to pot up this tray of PL50s into quarts. Because the crop is in the growing state, we are able to pot it up. If it's in the germinated state, you cannot pot up because the crop is still too young, but it is in the growing state. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit and say that the PL50s are ready today. So I'm going to click the green button that says crop ready today. Watch what happens. Boom. It auto updates the status to ready, and the inventory is unchanged and it's still in its location. Now because the project manager really wants the quarts instead of the 50s, we need a new production order. So I'm going to click the new pot up order. All right, it auto populates. You can choose your product here, right, which is that tray of PL50s that we just marked as being ready. They've been earmarked for faux posts. That's the use of that customer tag. You can quickly and easily distinguish this crop from other crops if you had multiple crops. So this one is for faux posts. This one is really urgent, actually. Production order instructions. Isn't it always ASAP? Okay. And we're going to produce that today. We're going to go from the PL50. We're going to bump it up to a quart. And let's see, there are 50, if we have 50 PL50s, we should be able to do 50 quarts. For us, quarts are counted individually, so I'm going to say 50 quarts. And I'm going to use one tray to do that. And please use a sandpeat mix. Great. So I just created step 1 a new production order to upsize the PL50s to quartz. Use this seed lot and this C lot and use this product. So these all match, which is wonderful if you do your data management correctly. Click Save. So now we have a new production order. And that production order is on this panel right here. No grams to sow because this is a pot up, not a sow production order. Look at everything. It looks great. Let's process that production order. You can also move production orders out. I don't have time to do it today, but I'll do it tomorrow. So add one day. Or I'm too busy this week, add 1 week. That's what these buttons are for, by the way. But let's process the production order, which is step 2. So this is where we are going to declare what we actually produced. So click Process Production Order, the star. Get a little panel. Everything looks fine. Producer's notes. I'll just say did them all. Looking great. PL50 to quartz. I want 50. I used 1 tray to do that. I produced 50. I used the sand peat mix. Actually, I customized a little bit, so I'll just say custom. And hit save. So I just declared what I actually produced. The requested quantity was 50. The quantity produced was 50, but you can see the sum produced so far is still 0. Well, that's because we haven't posted. So now you can see we have the post to production. And remember, it's the post to production button versus the post to germ record button because we are using a pre-existing plant to produce a larger one. So post to production button is what you want to click next. And boom, like magic, you now have 50 quarts of this species collected from Davis, West Virginia in inventory, created on this date in growing status. Isn't that beautiful? And now sum produced so far is 50. The request was 50. I think I'm done. So I am going to hit the green smiley button, set PO to finished. That closes out the production order, and I am now officially finished. Let's go find the new crop. So here's our crop of 50 quarts. I'm going to click in. I'm going to put those plants in house 3 in zone C. It starts off at 100% germination. If there are losses along the way, you can decrement this to reflect your losses. So clicking 50% reduces the on-hand amount from 50, which is what it was. See that? 50 at 100% because I produced 50, but I had 50% loss. So now I'm down to 25. That's still sufficient. I only need 1. Even if you go down to 10% yield, you still have 5 on hand. And you can just monitor the crop, your grower, and as new information arises, they can just quickly update this information. When that crop is fully ready, you can press the crop ready today button. There we go. So this crop is ready for sale. The ready date is automatically updated to reflect that new information. And here is our line item that we updated from the projects team for 1 quart of this whole thing. What a tremendous amount of work to produce that 1 quart. So let's take a look at this order and let's perform some additional operations. So you can see here that there are 5 quarts of this product available, and I am going to place a hold on that crop for this line item. You can see the panel tells me how many I have available of the Gaultheria percumbens in quarts, and that 5, remember, is determined by the yield percentage on that crop. And I want to place a hold on this crop for this order by just clicking the button, and I just need 1, so there we go. And when you hold that 1 flat, it tells you that you have 4 left. So you still have 5 available, if you will, but now when someone looks at this crop, they'll see that there are only 4 that are actually available for sale. So I just held this crop for this order by simply clicking the crop button and saying how many I wanted. It's so easy. Let's go back in and take a look at our order and see if everything looks okay. All right, so Phopos, here's our test order. It has 1 line item on it. The sub-OM is confirmed, it's billed, it's quart, it's 1, and it shows me exactly which plant I have allocated to this order, maybe as a backup. Hold it again, and when you do that, you can see that your available inventory decrements once more from 4 to 3. So now I have held 2 quarts for this order, just in case one doesn't look good in the... Great, so now I have walked through the entire process of collecting seed, conditioning the seed, sowing the seed into PL50s, clicked through the status from sown to germinated to growing, potted up those PL50s into quarts, updated their status to ready, allocated them to a customer order twice, and this is just all looking great. From here you can send a sales order, you can send an invoice, you can send a pull slip to the nursery when the time comes. Let's go back to the project order and see what they see. So over here, do you remember we talked about there being draft orders, which is this. This is the order that the project manager placed. So they got their precumbens 1 quart. And when the nursery converted that draft order into a real order, you can see that order being represented here. There's a perfect match, which is fine. You can click in as a project manager and see what's happening on your end. So that completes our demo today. So in summary, we just walked through the entire process of collecting seed, sending seed to the nursery, establishing accession codes or seed lot codes. We practiced conditioning that seed and then creating a production order to sow those seeds. We sowed them directly into PL50s. We upgraded them from sown status to germinated status. We chose a germination rate. We upgraded the germinating crop into a growing crop. We then updated the order to reflect the customer requirements as quarts. So we created another production order to convert the PL50s into quarts and process that production order using the 3 steps, which are creating the production order, declaring the work that was performed, and then posting to inventory. Once we had inventory, we allocated the product to the line item by using the hold feature, completed the entire process, all in just a handful of minutes. I do encourage everyone watching this video to follow this data flow precisely and accurately each time. If you skip a step along the way, it will severely degrade the quality of your inventory records and cause endless confusion within your organization. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.